On satisfaction. On the subject of the gods, there are those who deny the existence of divinity outright. Others say that God exists, but is idle and indifferent, and does not pay attention to anything. A third group says that God exists and is attentive, but only to the workings of the heavens, never affairs on earth. A fourth group says that he does attend to earthly affairs, including the welfare of humanity, but only in a general way, without worrying about individuals. And then there is a fifth group, Odysseus and Socrates among them, who say that I cannot make a move without God's notice. Before doing anything else, we need to examine these views separately to decide which are true and false. Because if the gods do not exist, what sense can be made of the command to follow the gods? And how can it be a sensible goal if they exist, but do not have any cares? Even supposing that they exist and care, if that care does not extend to people and, in point of fact, to me personally, it is still no worthwhile goal. The intelligent person, after due consideration of the question, will decide to submit his will to the ruler of the universe, as good citizens submit to the laws of the state. Education should be approached with this goal in mind. How can I personally follow the gods always, and how can I adapt to God's government, and so be free? Freedom, you see, is having events go in accordance with our will, never contrary to it. Well, is freedom the same as madness? Of course not. Madness and freedom are poles apart. But I want my wishes realized. Never mind the reason behind them. Now that's madness. That's insanity. Freedom is something good and valuable. To arbitrarily wish for things to happen that arbitrarily seem to you best is not good, it's disgraceful. How do we approach the practice of writing? Do I want to write the name Dion, whatever way I please? No. I learn to want to write it the way it is supposed to be written. The case is the same with music, the same with every art and science. It would not be worth the trouble to learn them, otherwise, if they accommodated everybody's wishes. And freedom, the greatest possession of all, is the last thing you would expect to be different, where wishes are given carte blanche. Getting an education means learning to bring our will in line with the way things happen, which is to say, as the ruler of the universe arranged. He arranged for there to be a summer and winter, abundance and lack, virtue and vice, all such opposites meant for the harmony of the whole, and he gave us each a body and bodily parts, material belongings, family, and friends. It is with this arrangement in mind that we should approach instruction, not to alter the facts, since this is neither allowed nor is it better that it should be, but in order to learn the nature of what concerns us and keep our will in line with events. Can we avoid people? How is that possible? And if we associate with them, can we change them? Who gives us that power? What is the alternative? What means can be found for dealing with them? One that ensures that we remain true to our nature, however other people see fit to behave. That's not what you do, though. No, you gripe and protest against circumstance. If you're alone, you call it desolation. If you're in company, you describe them all as swindlers and backstabbers. You curse your own parents, your children, your siblings, and neighbors. When you are by yourself, you should call it peace and liberty, and consider yourself the god's equal. When you're with a large group, you shouldn't say you are in a mob or crowd, but a guest at a feast or a festival, and in that spirit, learn to enjoy it. What is the downside for those who refuse to accept it? To be just as they are. Is someone unhappy being alone? Leave him to his isolation. Is someone unhappy with his parents? Let him be a bad son and grumble. Is someone unhappy with his children? Let him be a bad father. Throw him in jail. What jail? The one he is already in? Since he is there against his will, and if he is there against his will, then he is imprisoned. Conversely, Socrates was not in prison because he chose to be there. But my leg is crippled. Slave, are you going to be at odds with the world because of one lame leg? Shouldn't you rather make the world a gift of it, and gladly return it to the one who gave it to you originally? Are you going to make Zeus your enemy, and set your face against the fates, with whom Zeus spun the thread of your destiny at the moment you were born, laying out his plans for you? You ought to realize you take up very little space in the world as a whole, your body that is. In reason, however, you yield to no one, not even to the gods, because reason is not measured in size but sense. So why not care for that side of you, where you and the gods are equals? It is my bad luck to have awful parents. Well, you couldn't very well choose them beforehand, saying, let this man have intercourse with this woman at this particular, so that I can be conceived. Your parents had come first, then you had to be born the way you are, of parents the way they are. Does that mean you have to be miserable? Let's suppose you didn't understand what you had the power of vision for. It would be your bad luck if you decided to close your eyes just at the moment a beautiful painting passed before you. You are even unluckier for being oblivious to the fact that you have the power of patience to deal with your difficulties. You forget the virtues of character you have in reserve, just when problems that they can control present themselves, and you could use their help. You should thank the gods for making you strong enough to survive what you cannot control, and only responsible for what you can. The gods have released you from accountability for your parents, your siblings, your body, and your possessions, for death and for life itself. They made you responsible only for what is in your power, the proper use of impressions. So why take on the burden of matters which you cannot answer for? You are only making unnecessary problems for yourself.